Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church, and I'm here today to share another day from the 8th chapter of the Gospel of John. There's a lot of good stuff in this chapter, and I hope you've gone back and looked at some of it. Today, I want to look at two verses 31 and 32. And here's what it says. Jesus said to the people who believed in him, "You are truly my disciples if you remain faithful to my teachings. And you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." Now, the first thing here is to note that Jesus is talking to the people who it says believed in him. He's not talking to people who want to argue with him. He's not talking to people who don't care who he is. He's not even talking to the religious leaders who are trying to define God and leave him out. He's talking to the people who have chosen to believe him. And believing in the Lord is certainly the very first step to having a life aligned with what God wants. And I understand that there are a lot of theological arguments about what that entails. You should do this or that, you shouldn't do that, you should do this, you have to do it here, you can't do it there, and so on and so forth. And I'm really not going to talk about any of those things. It's not that I don't care, but I guess I don't care. you know, I care that people believe, have chosen to believe that Jesus is the Son of God and have chosen to give their lives to him. That's what I care about. How you do it, when you do it, where you do it, it doesn't matter to me. So when we look at this, it says, he said to the people who believed. Now, what does he say? You are truly my disciples. Now, the emphasis here is on the word truly. That means you are for sure my disciples. Now, why did he say that? Well, I wasn't there, obviously, so I can't say exactly. But what I think is going on here is that a lot of people came to, quote, believe in Jesus because it was the thing to do in certain groups, sort of a crowd mentality. They came along and they got absorbed into the hysteria, maybe of a miracle working, maybe of a really amazing teaching, or maybe they just got drugged along by friends and family members. I don't know. So it becomes easy to say, I believe. But Jesus says, no, you got to really believe. Now, really believing is a step beyond believing. Let me give you an illustration. I believe that the Pittsburgh Steelers might have a good season this coming up year. Since I live near there, that's the team around here, and everybody wants me to root for them. And I'll be happy to do that. But do I really know they're going to have a good season? Nah. I hope they do. Is my life going to be changed if they don't? No. I'm not going to go to a game. I'm not going to buy any of the Steeler paraphernalia. It's not because I'm anti-football. I like football, or I'm anti the Steelers because they seem to be a pretty decent bunch. It's just that my life doesn't revolve around them like it does with some people. They are the real believers, the ones who go to the games even in the bad weather or late at night. And there's some who are listening to me who fit in that category. You are a real believer in the Pittsburgh Steelers. So in this same way, Jesus said, you are a real believer in me. You are really my disciple. If, big if here, if you remain faithful to my teachings. The key here is twofold. One, what are the teachings? And two, remaining faithful. Now, I don't have time to talk about all of the teachings, and you can browse those if you want. They're in the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. There are all kinds of teachings he did. But what I can do is say, if you remain faithful. Now, we have what are called fair weather fans. When the team's winning, I'm excited about them. When they're not winning, I ignore them. You can't be a fair weather fan of Jesus. You just can't. Well, you can try to be. And there are many, many people who come to church who probably do exactly that. But if you really want to be a disciple of Jesus, and go on as it says, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. If you really want to be free to, as the Army slogan said, be all you can be, if you really want to enjoy life, to experience all of the goodness of God, then you have to truly be a disciple of Jesus and remain faithful. Now, sometimes being faithful to Jesus is hard. Sometimes it might cost you. I've been in situations where being a Christian cost me. I won't go into those details now. I've mentioned them before. But looking back, I'm so glad that I chose walking with Jesus rather than doing something to make somebody else happy. Now, I'm not special. I'm not, just because I'm a preacher doesn't mean that I'm better than anybody else. It's just that somehow or another, I got this idea a long time ago that if Jesus is going to be your Lord, then he has to be Lord of everything. And that means I have to change my attitude. Sometimes I have to change my life, my habits. Sometimes I have to change my words. I have to change to fit what Jesus said because I want to remain faithful to his teachings. When I don't, I know it. And I resolve to do better the next time. So I hope you too want to be a true disciple of Jesus and remain faithful to his teachings, whatever the cost. If you want to be free, if you want to really experience life, Jesus says that's the way to do it. Well, thanks for listening. If you have a prayer concern or a need, let us know. We'll do whatever we can, as fast as we can, to help meet your need. Thanks so much for listening. I'll be back one more day on this topic of the 8th chapter of the Gospel of John. God bless you. I'll talk to you again.